evening, Wilbert Cook, a Hand Up Recovery Homes Executive Director and Founder.
And I'm Chris Kimbrough from a Hand Up Recovery Homes.
Welcome, Chris. Glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
It took you long enough, Chris. What happened? What took you so long to get here?
I have been busy trying to come up with new ways to enhance a Hand Up. I am our admin, so I do a lot of research and I try to make everyone's job a little easier.
She gave y'all that fancy word. She got office manager and everything else. Sometimes she play clerk, sometimes she's the accountant, but Chris does everything she can since she came to us a little over 6 weeks ago. Just in a talk about blessings. She said, well, you really want to bless me? How about some work? And I said, oh, got a spot for you. And she took over our office and has organized it to the point that it's probably as organized as any multi-million-dollar organization. We don't have the space yet, but we're on our way because Chris is handling that office very well, and she's making sure we all are more efficient. But Chris, I brought you on the show because you grew up in North Lawndale like I did.
Absolutely.
You go to a church that's really close to one of the hottest spots and hot spots in North Lawndale, Douglas Boulevard, 16th Street, so forth. Mm-hmm. And then, Sir Matt Corder has its moments. 16th Street, a few blocks from where you live, has its moments. How do you think we can help change the gun violence problems that plague our community?
And honestly, that's a hard question to answer simply because there are so many people that are running on fear.
Okay.
And, when we were younger, people used to use their hands, to settle their quarrels. But now people have gotten away from that and they're afraid, to take a hit. So they're quick to grab a gun to save face, pretty much. And you never know what type of mental capacity someone is in as well, because there is a lot of mental illness, undiagnosed mental illness in our communities. So you never know what state of mind someone is in when they pick up a gun as well.
Okay, I'm glad you led in. Great segue. Mm-hmm. All right, to this point, what are some of the key mental health issues you've noticed with people that could lead to violence, in particular, possibly folks, if they have access to a gun, which so many do, they may shoot somebody because they're having an episode or a bad episode?
Well, yeah, there's a plethora of different mental illnesses. But, depression is definitely one. And, of course, schizophrenia and bipolarism. And, I'm not a medical professional or anything to list all of the different mental illnesses or anything. But because someone could have an undiagnosed problem, they're just running on air, and they're not understanding what's going on with them because something is going on up there. So, they're just pretty much just going on with the flow as they know how, as best that they know how. And so they don't know how to redirect that anger and that rage. That's the quickest thing is to, I don't know what's going on. I can't handle this. Bang, bang.
Wow. And a myriad of other problems created as that happens. Mm-hmm. You mentioned some very important things about mental health, whether it's the depression or the schizophrenia. But how well do you think the community is starting to handle getting help with your mental, emotional health as normalized as getting help for physical problems or physical and biological problems based on physical that affect us more physically. Are we getting any closer to accepting the fact oftentimes to help regulate the chemistry of the mind, the brain, or our view that people need to be able to feel comfortable seeking help? I guess that's what I want to say. Are we getting better?
Sadly, in our community, I don't believe so. But the thing is, like, when you go to the doctor, they always give the depression screening now.
Okay.
So I
you're right.
think they're starting to make it more prevalent in our communities because, anytime you go to any doctor for the smallest thing to the biggest thing, they always give that depression screening, and I can appreciate that, because I myself suffered from depression for quite some time, and it's nothing easy that you can just get over, it took a lot of time and a lot of help, and I had to seek out professional help. But in the Black community, we as a people have not had a history of actually seeking out professional help. And it's been a stigma against that with our people because they just automatically, I'm going to go to church and everything's going to be made all right. But that's not the case. Sometimes you do actually need to express what's going on, those deep feelings, those hurts, those pains, everything that you're dealing with. Sometimes you do need to talk to someone professional to help you to work through those things.
Well, I think you hit another very key word we haven't talked about as much as we should: pain.
Yes.
Whether it's a pain, mental, physical, emotional scars, whether it's based on a relationship with a young lady, young man, whether you polyamorous, my new word, you all, I don't really know what it means, but it means that you're pretty versatile in some areas of intimacy. I think that's what it means. But anyway, but we don't deal with all of that. That's what I'm really trying to say. And unfortunately, we have people in our community, young people, middle-aged people, still struggling to come out of these shells to find their true or express their true identity.
Right.
And that pain and conflict can lead to who knows what kind of dangerous and possible more gun violence.
Yeah.
And we don't even know that's the reason. Why? Because it's not accepted to discuss that maybe I was in this relationship went bad. But
Absolutely.
It's a type that's still stigmatized. So do you think pain on various levels, you want to discuss any of the things and how you see that could cause people to still, like you say, bang, bang?
Yeah. One of the biggest things is bullying,
Good one.
the simple fact that, children aren't the only ones that are bullied. Adults can be bullied as well. But the suicide level has been increasing with young adults, teenagers, because they're trying to figure out and find themselves and what they want and who they want to be with, and the stigma of their family associations, whether or not they'll be accepted by their family, their friends, their church, whatever. A lot of them don't know how to handle it. And based on the people that surround them, if they know pretty much how their circle will react to, who they have become to be, who they found themselves out to be, then they can't handle it. And they feel like, taking themselves out of that situation is much better than actually dealing with it. And that's another reason why we need to get professional help and counseling. But bullying, we hear too many times in the news where, a child brought a gun to school because they were getting picked on, people were talking about them, beating them up, whatever the case may be. Like I said before, people are afraid to fight anymore. Not that I'm advocating fighting, but the simple fact is that's a quick and easy way out, is to quickly end that problem and, end it all, whether killing themselves or killing the person that hurt them. So it all boils down to that hurt and pain that they're dealing with, and they don't know how to deal with it.
Chris, you brought up another important ending one cycle of drama or trauma you're dealing with, but not thoughtfully realizing you opened up a whole wide range of other issues for yourself, the family of whoever you shot,
right,
the loved ones, and then whether they medically injured severely. And I'm sometimes struggle with whether people that shot who end up quadriplegic or with lifetime impairments,
right,
challenges because of gun violence is, I don't know which one's easier. It really ain't, neither one feel good and it's easy for a family, but it's like, some people be wishing they was dead. I wouldn't wish anybody died.
right,
But the end result, and then the family members that have to take care of loved one who survives.
absolutely,
And ends up disabled from gun violence. And I've heard that story from one of the ladies work at the circuit court. I used to ride the old extension of the blue line that became pink out in our area.
right,
And she was coming out of Berwyn, and her son at 16 was shot in a gang violence incident and ended up paralyzed. And taking care of him, going to work, coming home every night, taking care of him, trying to find a good caretaker,
right,
trying to keep other drama from her area so he wouldn't possibly get killed still, even though he was quadriplegic at that time,
right,
bedridden most of the time, or in a wheelchair when they could get him up and out as he got a little healthier. That's got to be tough. And
it is.
how do you think we can help people realize that they need to find a better way, because the way when you go bang bang and you shoot somebody, you just created so many more problems for yourself, your family, and the other family of the victim.
Right.
How do we try to wrestle with that? Any ideas, suggestions? Some love and compassion you can put out here?
I wish I knew.
Okay.
I mean, really, you never know what state of mind anyone is in at any given time, And the simple fact is, you're right, gun violence affects so many people. When you shoot that one person, you've either killed them or hurt them and their families and their, friends and so forth. It's a pain that you can't get over, because some people are holding on to that hurt and pain for so long. And then, there's that anger that builds up. And then they want to retaliate. And, well, you did this to me. You caused this hurt and pain to me. I got to get you back. There's that retaliation. So it's a vicious cycle that, we're in, and you just never know, what one little thing can change the outcome, for one person, because I think saving the life of one person, is well worth its weight in gold,
Because you're saving the trauma as well as the drama.
Right.
That whole family will experience. Whether he has 3 kids,
right,
4 kids, whether he has a wife, girlfriend, significant other, whether he has a mother, a father, sisters, brothers, all those lives are affected when you pull the trigger.
right, yeah.
Then your side those who perpetrate shootings, you've affected the lives of all your children.
Yes.
All of your family members.
And if you get caught and you go to jail, then that's one less person in that household to take care of that child, to take care of that wife, that girlfriend, that mother, to take care of that family, There's so many people that are hurting because of that one action.
So, I know it's tough to live in a community that's labeled for the violence. That gets its daily news feed based on usually violence or
Right.
criminal activity. That's the other one, the other criminal activity.
Right.
How do you feel we can help inspire many of those struggling with mental, emotional issues, struggling with anger, struggling with pains of failed family relationships, personal relationships, even maybe in school, and encourage them that there's a way out? Why? Because you've made it out without having to resort to violence. Other people have made it out without resorting to violence.
True.
Some of us have survived criminal activity to make it out and have legitimate businesses. How do we try to go about getting that message to folks before they destroy their lives and the lives of their families by having a violent incident, in particular shooting people?
Well,
or getting shot? Because some people, their behavior get them shot.
True. So
As we was talking about on the way.
Honestly, I think we have to start young, and mentor our children and make sure that they know that there is a better way. Because once you teach and train that child that they don't have to resort to gun violence and guns are bad and blase skippy, they're going to remember that, hopefully, and prayerfully that they do stick to that, but the things that you instill into a child, hopefully we can get it to stay and get them to deter away from, the violence. So mentorship is definitely one way. But for the adults, that's a harder issue, because they're already set in their ways. The only way to reach them is one-on-one contact, And if you're talking to somebody with a whole group of people, you're not going to get anywhere. I mean, it's sad to say, but, if it's a group of them, sorry, it's not going to make a difference, because everybody's trying to be hard in front of their boys or whatever.
Girls now.
Yeah, true, girls too. But when you can actually talk to somebody one-on-one, and actually get their attention and find out where they're at and find out what type of help that they need, then, you can actually try to intervene. And that's another thing that we do at A Hand Up. We actually do outreach. We go out into the streets and we talk to people one-on-one, and we try to find out what type of help and assistance that they need. Because when you meet somebody where they're at, then that makes such a bigger difference, in their life, and we have counselors and everything. So, we are able to help people no matter what level they're at. And if we can't, then we will find it. We'll actually research and find the help that they actually do need. So, I think that's the best way we can, help putting a stop to it, is that one-on-one interaction with people.
All right, thank you. And it's funny, I was ready to say, we talked about a few things at the main office before we headed here. But the one I want to bring up also is that discussion people have about music. and its impact, especially gangster rap. This is the 50th anniversary of hip hop, but along the way, some of those commercial folks decided to add even more gangster than the actual rappers. And I'm hearing now the story being told, half the rappers between the 1990s and late 2000, in 2018, 19, and a few still today, they don't write their music. Other executives pick all that violent, sexual stuff for them to add to a good beat of music and alter music. Even after someone has written something that could be somewhat provocative or violent, sometimes they say that ain't ghetto enough in executives. Many who are not African Americans or Latinos, and they say add this, add that, to enhance the violent nature of those songs or the degradation in the songs and or the insult to even women that's in those songs. And we tend to put it all on the rap artist, but really to get their $1 million paycheck in advance, they got to adhere to what the execs say they want them to sing. How do you feel about that and its impact potentially on all the shooting, since they use so much violence in these gangster videos as well as movies now? And even worse part of streaming is you got more African American and Latino content, but the majority of it is the violent, drug-related, drug-infested, stealing drugs and stealing money off business folks and shooting everybody. I'm like, oh, Lord, this is not the way to get more African-American content exposed to the world.
They glamorize it, and because they glamorize all the violence and stuff in the movies and in the music, you know, people try to emulate what they see in all the videos and everything, because they see all the bling and all the girls naked and all this, you know, so they feel like, oh, that could be me too, you know, but it's
like basketball players, 1 in a million. Get all of that. Get a bit piece, but all of that is...
And I really believe a lot to do with the gun violence has to do with video games. All of the violent video games that are out now, and they're killing and shooting and everything, and they've become desensitized to it. You know, so they feel like, okay, well, I get so many points for killing this one and running over and all of this, you know, and then you see a rise in the hit and runs out in the street, and you see a rise in all of the murders and stuff, you know. So the thing is, I think video games have a lot to do with it as well.
Well, that's a discussion we'll have to carry on next time. You know, how media adversely affects the behavior of many of us who watch it, and especially if we don't have people to help us disseminate the facts, the realities of it all. So we thank you, Chris, for showing up with us. Thank you for helping a hand up grow and develop into a top-notch gun violence reduction program.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And thank you all for having us in your households this evening. Be blessed.